Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. As I take you south, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And there are plenty of combatants here in the forum tonight that want the smoke. We are just 5 nights away from our next monthly special event, Hysteria, on the 25th. And we have one hell of a lineup as part of our final roadblock before our next monthly special event, including a roadblock for the wild card, Robby Deuce, as he goes one-on-one against the blue chipper, one half of the Bam bus, Bam Dardino. As we all know, Robby Deuce will be taking on Dynamite Danny Axel in just 5 nights at Hysteria. But we also know that this man will be challenging for the KPW American Championship in just 5 nights. The Sauce will be in action here tonight, and he'll be going one-on-one against the leader of the Young Movement. We're of course talking about James Kay Zee, one of the more prominent new signees that KPW's had. He'll be competing in his first ever singles match here tonight, and what a night to do it. But also, still to come on the program, we will be seeing the KPW Tag Team Champions, at least one of them in Slardy, in 4 corners action as turmoil is revolving around the tag team division. We'll be seeing Slardy go up against not just one, not just 2, but 3 different competitors here tonight, as he'll be going up against Atmosphere. He'll be going up against Hollywood Hannon, and he'll be going up against Ricky Rhombus. 4 corners rules, ladies and gentlemen. The last man standing in that ring will be declared the winner of that bout. And of course, the main event, as we heard over the past week, after Solo jumped ship with his co-conspirator K-Dog, he has also taken the time to challenge the KPW World Heavyweight Champion Popcorn Papi to a fight here tonight. Popcorn Papi, he's been a bit eager to get his hands on both of these men for stabbing him in the back. He'd be more than willing to chomp at the bit for an opportunity like this. Let's see if it will pay off. But first, let's head right down to ringside as the wild card takes on the blue chipper here tonight. Bam Dardino, he will not be the only member of the Bam Bus kept busy here tonight. He's got one hell of a fight ahead of him against the wild card, Robby Deuce. Ricky Rhombus will be in the 4 corners match later on tonight. But Robby Deuce is quite an unpredictable force of nature here in KPW. Nobody could have ever expected this man to be underneath the guise of Revolucion, a man that led such a unabashed, unrelenting, undefeated streak over the past several months before the mask came flying off, quite literally. But Robby Deuce, he was a dominant KPW Twitch champion. He's come very close to becoming world heavyweight champion. But he is in the ring with a former world champion in Bam Dardino. And this could be bad news for the wild card if he chooses to underestimate the blue chipper here tonight. As we've heard from the past several weeks, Robby Deuce, he's been reaching out to Dynamite Danny Axel, the man that mentored not just the Bam Butts, but our previous world heavyweight champion in Pando. These past several weeks have been quite strange, to say the least, regarding the wild card Robby Deuce. Rush to the throat, courtesy of Robby Deuce. A spinning wheel kick sends Robby Deuce through the ropes. He gets right back in, and he goes for the eyes of Bam Dardino. Mean right hook from the blue chipper. Robby Deuce going right back to the eyes. A vicious attack from the wild card. Irish whip reversal by Bam Dardino. Tilt-a-whirl side slam. And if Robby Deuce doesn't play his cards correctly, the Deuces could be wild. Bam Dardino could put this away before it even begins here. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And Robby Deuce frantically kicking out of that. He can't believe he let his guard be lowered to that extreme of a degree here. The relative inexperience compared to the long, illustrious career of Robby Deuce. Springboard back elbow from the second rope. And this has been an uphill battle for Robby Deuce. He needs to kick into that second gear right here and now. Power slam from Robby Deuce. And there's so much concern about alignment, so much concern about trust here in KPW as of lately. We have no idea of the mental state of Dynamite Danny Axel. Just like him, we have no idea if we could trust Robby Deuce to be an honest man about his concerns, about his calls for help. This could be another ploy, another psychological ploy, as we've seen in times immemorial from Robby Deuce. But a very vocal minority have spoken out. They firmly believe that this man really wants the help. He really needs some kind of repentance. And only time will tell if Robby Deuce is going to be a truthful man, an honest man. Robby Deuce, he's been as typically vicious as he's been in the past. But he seems a bit more reserved here tonight. Inside cradle, 2 count. As Bam Dardino looking to stay just slightly out of reach. Another power slam from Robby Deuce. Standing clothesline, Robby Deuce stays on the vertical base for just a moment. Shotgun drop kick, pushing Bam Dardino back. Robby Deuce thinking a catcher suplex and ends a gearing counter by Bam Dardino. And trust has just been such a strong reoccurring theme here in that KPW locker room. Hostway defected from Parliament all those months ago. He convinced Tori to come with him. because he didn't trust the direction that Oliver English was leading Parliament. And it's all culminating this Saturday night in a ladder match where both parties will be fighting for their own versions of freedom. Josue looking to break the chains of Parliament in that ladder match. Oliver English looking to maintain his vice grip on all the people he's led so horribly astray. But that's not all about trust. Caught in the middle of Bunker Hill, this major implosion is the heartthrob Popo. We have no idea where he's aligned in all of this. If he stands side by side with K-Dog and Solo, if he stands side by side with the KPW World Heavyweight Champion, we were looking to get some answers about that last week on the program before he was interrupted by the 2026 Lethal Lottery winner, the Viceroy Jedi. Tempers flared up. A brawl ensued in the ring. Popo was able to walk away from that skirmish, but we still don't have any answers. He could very well be his own man, like the Viceroy said. Ready to carve out his own path. Ready to call himself the world champion. But he's gonna have to wait until after Hysteria, because K-Dog is the man with the title shot in just 5 nights. Another eye rake from Robby Deuce. Irish whip reversal from Bam Dardino. Side slam from Bam. Bam looking to go up top here. Missile drop kick to the back of Robby Deuce. Scoop slam following up with some mean right hooks. And now is Robby Deuce with the counter. Busting out the Enziguri on the blue chipper Bam Dardino. And Bam Dardino, he's had quite an illustrious history here in KPW. And he's done so much in such a short amount of time. We've seen his entire career blossom in the squared circle in these hollow forums. A former world heavyweight champion, a former tag team champion. He is still very much in the chase to become a 2-time KPW tag team champion. A big drop kick sinks Robby Deuce here. Action spilling to the outside.
2.
This is exactly what we were saying about tempers flaring up here. Robby Deuce getting a bit more aggressive. Back suplex.
7.
Onto the floor.
9. 10.
And he's still doing the old rallying cry of the icon, the man they call Ding. Robby Deuce very clearly hasn't gotten over what has transpired.
16.
Back at Spring Stampede. Out of 18. Robby Deuce more than willing to take a count-out victory.
20. Count out.
And Robby Deuce takes the easy way out. You know that Robby Deuce, he's been looking for help. He's been looking for some kind of guidance from Dynamite Danny Axel. But you know damn well that Dynamite Danny Axel is not going to like what he sees here, as Robby Deuce takes a count-out victory against the blue chipper Bam Dardino. But coming up next, singles action in the American Championship scene. We know that Sergeant Foxtrot will be defending the championship against the Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce, in just 5 nights. But looking to make a strong impression for himself, looking to stake his claim and derail the Sauce even by just a little bit. The man having his singles debut here in KPW. We saw him in action at Spring Stampede in triple threat action, but now his first singles bout is upon us. James Kay Zee takes on the Rhinestone Cowboy in high stakes action, high profile action at that. But before we get right down to ringside, understand we have some cameramen way in the back here. Look at him keep up with the Pitbull, the #1 contender for the KPW World Heavyweight Championship, K-Dog. Let's see what that's all about.
Solo, just calm down for a minute, man. Seriously, just listen to me. You made the right call the other week. You were right next to him all the way through. Did he ever try and throw you a bone? He took every opportunity that ever came our way and used it for himself. Where would he be without us, Solo? He can't even get his belt back. And he's not going to have a belt to get back when I beat his ass with this belt, for this belt, at Hysteria this weekend. Trust me, Solo, we both know Popcorn Papi is here tonight. We both know he wants to fight you in the main event. But if anything gets out of hand, and I mean anything, you are going to get the help you need, and I mean that 100%, my friend.
It appears that K-Dog has prepared some sort of contingency plan for his partner Solo, the man that had his back the whole way through, not just with Bunker Hill, but in completely dismantling it as well, chopping it right down the middle. Solo's gonna be more than prepared for a fight. But if anybody is ready for a fight here tonight, it's James Kay Zee, and he's got one hell of a fight on his hands. He's got a whole hell of a lot to prove, because he's gonna be standing across the ring from the Rhinestone Cowboy, a man that has represented KPW from day one, the Sauce. A former Twitch champion, the first ever lethal lottery winner. He's had quite a bit of battles against former world heavyweight champions. He's put up one hell of a fight in those battles. I firmly believe, and this is a prediction, folks, I firmly believe that a man like the Sauce to become a world heavyweight champion within the next year. Got all that's tools in his skill set. He has the acumen, he has the grit, the tenacity, the intensity to make it all come true. But if anybody knows how to push the boundaries, if anybody knows how to escalate things and take things to a new level of extreme, it's James Kay Zee. And this is going to be another test in the long, illustrious history of the career of the Sauce here tonight. James is wailing away in the corner. Side slam by James Kay Zee. The Sauce getting back to his own 2 feet here. And a mean right hook takes down the Sauce. James going for the cover immediately. James taking a pile driver. The Sauce counters, lifts him overhead. And what a night to have your first singles match here in KPW. What a high profile matchup this is for James Kay Zee, the The two most recent signings have had some serious high-profile encounters. James Kay Zee getting this singles match against the Sauce here ahead of Hysteria. This could be one hell of a sales pitch to get into the American Championship match should he defeat the Sauce here tonight.
4, 5.
But let's not just talk about James Kay Zee. Let's talk about the other signee from Spring Stampede, our current KPW Twitch champion, T-Nova.
10.
A man that won the championship by pinning this man.
13.
A man that will have one hell of a first championship defense on his hands at Hysteria when he takes on the star attraction, Pierre Cinema, in just 5 nights. James Kay Zee getting his hands dirty here tonight, whipping the Sauce right into the stairs. Before pulling him back into the ring, the Sauce looking for any advantage that he could get here. This has been one hell of a back and forth Donnybrook here tonight. Arm elbow tie up here. Crucifix bomb by James Kay Zee. Sit out cover. I think the Sauce didn't know what the hell to make of that. He was completely blindsided. James Kay Zee, he's a man that maybe we like to proclaim as a 5-tool player. He could brawl, he could take to the skies if he wants to. He can get technical, he could introduce a little bit of power into the equation, as we saw just moments ago. And he's got the grit.
1, 2.
Reverse suplex, lateral press, and only a 2 count. You can feel the tension in that ring here tonight, folks. You can cut that tension with a knife. James Kay Zee. Look at a signal for the end here. Scoop slam. James back up on his vertical base once again. And he's amped up. He's all fired up, folks. Shoulder breaker by the Sauce, moving it quick, zeroing in on the right arm of James Kay Zee. Very bold strategy on display for the Rhinestone Cowboy, targeting the proverbial naked arm of James Kay Zee. His left elbow padded up quite securely.
2, 3.
Tope Sudacita, but nobody home. The Sauce using the announce desk to propel himself out of harm's way.
9.
The situational awareness of the Sauce on full display here tonight.
12. 13. 14. 15.
James, it appears he's pulled out a pole cue from the front row of the Kumite Forum. Now left body blow from James Kay Zee, an elbow drop to follow it up. A little bit of high-low action with the pull cue, another lateral press, and another kick out by the Sauce. Gonna take a whole hell of a lot more than that to keep the Sauce down. The Sauce running right into a Fujiwara armbar. James Kay Zee had the right idea in mind there, blocking the ropes, using them as leverage to keep the Sauce away from breaking the hold. And now is the Sauce dishing out some clubbing blows, clubbing strikes. The Sauce is gonna have to fight his way out of the corner. He's feeling quite a bit of pressure, but the Sauce, he's back up. He gets right back up. He doesn't give a damn about the pressure. That's where he performs the best. That's where he strives the best. And James Kay Zee, he understands that he's gonna have to keep that pressure high. Running lariat cover.
1, 2, count 2.
And the Sauce showcasing that never say die attitude here tonight. That is exactly the attitude that the Sauce is going to need to have against Sergeant Foxtrot in 5 Nights. And James just clobbered the Sauce with another lariat. We're going to put the Sauce to sleep here. We're going to quell any and all doubters here tonight. Is James Kay Zee another X-Plex? And an unprotected shot to the kidneys of the Sauce. That'll take the breath right out of anybody. And speaking of unprotected blows, cross faces back and forth, left and right, over and over and over again by James Kay Zee. James Kay Zee catches the arm of the Sauce, goes for an arm breaker. A knee to the groin of the Rhinestone Cowboy, and he's going 2 for 2 on this. This is gonna get mean, this is gonna get vicious here. Back-to-back German suplexes. Cover.
1, 2, count 2.
And this is some serious high-octane, hard-hitting action. And what a spear! What a double-leg takedown by James Kay Zee! Float over DDT by the Sauce. The Sauce showing a little bit more urgency here. After everything that's unfolding in the ring here tonight. And the pressure's been on for the Sauce. We've seen him take the fight right to Chris Billy in subsequent weeks, ever since the anniversary show just 3 weeks ago. The Sauce, a man that has put Chris Billy back on the shelf, dropping him on his neck 2 weeks ago on the program with a tombstone pile driver, the patented GFD. Sauce's ruthlessness is not to be underestimated here tonight, folks. Maybe a bold move for James Kay Zee to keep the pressure high. Maybe a bold move, it'll be a wise move to stay on the attack for as much as he possibly can here. Another arm breaker by James Kay Zee. Now at least take the power out of the acumen of the Sauce. Another double leg takedown. Rushing at him like a battering ram. Leaping pile driver in the corner. James dragging the Sauce away from the ropes. Going back to those cross faces, those hard left and right hooks. Headlock takeover by the Sauce. Another knee to the groin, this time to James Kay Zee. Body blows starting to catch up to the Sauce. He's looking a bit winded in there. He's looking a bit exhausted, gassed, as James Kay Zee is continuously sapping the life out of this man. Delayed vertical superplex from the top rope. And one has to wonder, James Kay Zee, he is absolutely in the zone here tonight. He is taking as much enjoyment as he possibly can out of this. Just picking away, chopping at the Sauce piece by piece, bit by bit. Inside cradle attempted by the Sauce, doing whatever he can to quell the aggression of James Kay Zee, but no luck there. Diving headbutt from the top. Picking him up. Go for Reefer Madness on 420. What a statement from James Kay Zee, and what a high profile victory for this young man as well. That patented double arm DDT from James Kay Zee, calls it Reefer Madness. He has just planted and drilled the Sauce with it in the center of the ring, as the notoriety of James Kay Zee continues to grow here in KPW, and he is making his way up to the ramp. I understand that Roger is on standby, ready to get a word with James Kay Zee here on the program. What a mission statement here against the Sauce here tonight. What a victory. Hard hitting back and forth encounter, but one head had to prevail.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here with one of the freshest acts here in KPW, the one and only James Kay Zee. We've seen the impact you've made in such a short amount of time. The big debut at Spring Stampede just weeks ago. Now we've seen you get the Sauce's number just moments ago. Surely we just witnessed the biggest victory of your career.
The biggest win of my career so far. You all saw what I was capable of at the Stampede last month. It took 2 of them to put me down. 2 of them. The Sauce wants to carry himself like a giant for this business. Sure, he's earned some equity here. He's taken the fight to giants like Chris Billy. He's got giant shoes to fill if he wants to take out the Sarge for the American Championship. But like you and everybody in the forum just saw here tonight, the only thing gigantic that he's going to carry by HYSTERIA are my travel bags. Chris Billy, the Sauce, they both want the gold. And Sergeant Foxtrot, I want that title too, and the pack all know I'm going to leave you all up in smoke. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
James Kay Zee with a hell of a statement, making his bid for the American Championship.
I don't know what the hell that is, but I like it. Anyways, thank you for your... Hold on. We're getting some breaking news about some kind of scuffle regarding Josue in the back. Somebody get some cameras behind the curtain.
A skirmish behind the curtain. Oh my God! Josue is being jumped by Chaos Control, the 2 heavies of Oliver English. And we should have known. We should have known that Parliament would take any advantage that they possibly could here against Josue. Oliver English's entire business operation is at stake in just 5 nights. Why wouldn't he take this opportunity to try and soften up the man that could take them all apart in that ladder match at Hysteria? Oliver English would love nothing more than to make the likes of Josue and Tori the equivalent of personal slaves. Freedom up for grabs here in just 5 nights' time. And Chaos Control, they are doing everything that they can to pin Josue down, but he is going down swinging if that's the case. And a vicious side suplex on the stage. Josue back up on his 2 feet though. And Josue, he's got a gargantuan task ahead of him right now. He is taking on almost 700 combined pounds of oppression here tonight. He's going for Angel Dust on the 400-pound Papyrus, laying him out on the stage. And security, event staff, they don't want to get in between any of this. They have no idea how far the reach of Oliver English could still go here, folks. Chaos Control, Kruger, Papyrus, those are just his top lieutenants in his operation. It's all the Monarch has left towards the top. He's hired goons, he's hired mercenaries, if you will. We're gonna make one final claim here. Get one last leg up before the ladder match in just 5 nights. And Chaos Control, you knew this was at least brewing for Papyrus, being embarrassed by the likes of not just Josue last week, but Pierre Cinema as well, enlisting outsiders to take out Parliament's ranks piece by piece, chomp by chomp, bit by bit. Josue struggling to get control of that steel chair. Take it down Kruger, take it down Papyrus, wailing away on both of them. Josue fighting like his life depends on it, and he has just cracked Papyrus over the head with that steel chair. He is bleeding profusely on the ramp. There is nothing that can get in the way of the prodigal son now. Josue is gonna get his hands on the Monarch at Hysteria this Saturday night in a high stakes ladder match, quite possibly the highest stakes that this company has ever seen here. For the first time in his life, Josue will fight selflessly. He'll be fighting for the betterment of others, not just himself, but for the likes of Tori. And believe it or not, the 2 men that he just had to put down on his way to the Monarch and Kruger Papyrus, as he fights to break up Parliament, he fights for their freedom, because he knows damn well that his own freedom is up for grabs as well. Such a tense situation brewing between these teams, these 2 parties. But coming up next, if you want turmoil, look at this development emerging in the tag team division. Ricky Rhombus, Hollywood Hand, and Atmosphere, Slardy, all butting heads coming up next in 4 corners action. There's been quite the stalemate. Quite the arms race in the tag team division, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's been able to get a leg up and firmly establish any kind of advantage, any kind of lead in the tag team division, not even over the tag team champions themselves. But this could very well change here tonight. Atmosphere rushing down to the ring, ready to take on Hollywood Hannon alongside two others in Ricky Rhombus and one half of the tag team champions themselves, representing the First Nation, Slardy. Ricky Rhombus looking a bit fired up, looking a bit amped up, looking to bring something home for the Bam Bus. His tag team partner Bam Dardino earlier on tonight was not as fortunate, being laid out on the outside by Robby Deuce, taking that count out victory. And here comes one half of the now two-time KPW Tag Team Champions. Looking lean and mean, as controversial as he's ever been. The War Machine, Slardy, marching down to the ring with 2x4 in hand. And this is not one fall to a finish here, folks. This is elimination rules, pinfalls, submissions. There will be one man left standing in the ring here tonight. I think of the opportunity that this presents itself to at least three of these men in the ring. Atmosphere, Ricky Rhombus, Hollywood Hannon, they're all looking for a chance to become tag team champions once again. If Slardy is able to clear the pack out here tonight, think of what that would establish for the First Nation, for him and Sigma Shuko, the tag team champions, to say that they've been able to clear out and clear away so many different challengers over the past 2 months. They've been able to take care of the Raging Bulls. They've been able to push away the Boise Boys, High Velocity, the Bam Bus. Think of the competition that would need to emerge to even get these belts free from the grip, the vice grip of the First Nation. Sidewalk slam by Slardy. Spinning wheel kick by Atmosphere. Ricky Rhombus and Hollywood Hannon slugging it out outside of the ring now. Full Nelson slam by Hollywood. Irish whip reversal. Slardy pumping the brakes. Hollywood tosses him out of the ring. Assist pile driver onto Hollywood Hannon, the man that is definitely the largest man in this match by far. Hollywood coming in at almost 300 pounds on the dot. Slardy following suit at about 260 pounds. Ricky Ramos not far behind with a 10-pound weight differential. An Atmosphere, the lightest man in this bout by a wide margin, barely underneath 200 pounds, 195 to be exact. A high velocity, what they have in, what they lack in power, they have in speed. And it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. An Atmosphere is gonna have to prove that here tonight. Slardy with the stop sign. Somebody's gonna have to get that off of him. Hollywood Hannon pulls it off. Power slam onto the sign. Ladies and gentlemen, still to come here tonight, our main event in the evening, as Popcorn Papi has been challenged to a fight by the Scrapyard Saint Solo, as we saw earlier on tonight, on the phone with the Pitbull K-Dog, having some second thoughts about this. The ire, the fury that has been brought out of the heart of the world heavyweight champion. Another sidewalk slam by Slardy. Slardy on the outside with Ricky Rhombus. Atmosphere going for a sleeper on the big Hollywood Hannon. Slardy with a bouquet of flowers. Bouquet of roses, to be specific. Specificity can be key. And that's exactly what Slardy's going to need to do if he wants to get out of this four corners bout unscathed. Senton from the top, courtesy of Atmosphere, clearing halfway across the ring. The distance, the sheer distance that Atmosphere got just to reach Hollywood Hannon. Holy crap. Bridging German suplex, only a 1 count on the champion. One half of the tag team champions. I think of the mission statement that would make. If Slardy was the first man eliminated from this bout. Think of the pressure that would put onto the First Nation ahead of the next championship defense. We understand that they will be defending the gold at Hysteria in just 5 nights. All a matter of who will be the lucky participant, who's going to be able to walk from behind that curtain and get the opportunity of a lifetime. Slardy going back to old habits there, busting out that barbed wire 2x4. Small package by Ricky Rhombus. Atmosphere just barely getting the shoulder free. Slardy with that barbed wire 2x4 in hand, looking to lacerate, slice up, dice up Hollywood Hand in here. Delayed vertical suplex by Ricky Rhombus. Single leg Boston Crab to follow it up. And everybody's just vying to get their hands on Slardy. And Atmosphere has just been eliminated. And so is Hollywood Hannon. Big full Nelson slam. Just at the snap of a finger, we are down to 2. Pop-up Samoan drop by Slardy. The playing field has just been leveled drastically in the span of just seconds. Back-to-back pinfalls on Hollywood Hannon and Atmosphere. Ricky Rhombus with everything to prove now. If he is the man that can get a pinfall over one half of the tag team champions, what the hell would that say about the First Nation? What kind of opportunities could present themselves if Slardy takes this pin right here and now? Big boot from Ricky Rhombus. Head full of steam, and now it's Ricky Rhombus with the 2x4. Slardy doing everything to disarm Ricky Rhombus, but Ricky goes low with a Manhattan drop. Open palm strike attempted, countered by Ricky Rhombus into an armbar. And Slardy's gonna have to tread carefully here. Snapmare onto Ricky Rhombus, trying to buy as much time as he possibly can here. Slardy blocking the turnbuckles with his body there. Fisherman Buster and a kick out at 1. This is as mean, as brutal, as violent as we have ever seen from both of these teams, both of these two remaining members of this Four Corners match. This is right in the ballpark of the War Machine, Slardy. Ricky Rhombus blocking the ropes with his body now, preventing the rope break from being allowed for the World Tag Team Champion in Slardy. Ricky Rhombus going around here. Blue Thunder Bomb.
1, 2, 3.
And he has just put away the War Machine here tonight. What a mission statement for the Bam Bus. A valiant fight for the other 3 members of this bout. Atmosphere, Hollywood Hannon still brawling on the outside, as we can see in the corner. As the closing moments of this match emerged, Rhombus digging deep into his arsenal, his repertoire, going for the Blue Thunder Bomb. as he was taught by his tag team partner, Bam Dardino. And think of the playing field that has emerged ahead of Hysteria. Think of the caution that this would put the First Nation in. Slardy went into this Four Corners match thinking that he would be in firm control, that he could thrive in this chaos, but it was completely out of his control. He found somebody, he found a mutual party that could survive in these conditions just a little bit better than him. Congratulations to Ricky Rhombus on the victory here tonight. And coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening, we have one hell of a fight to bring to you here tonight, as the Scrapyard Saint Solo, the man that turned his back on Popcorn Papi, the man that took sides, the man that stabbed Popcorn Papi, the man that caused all this tension, this friction, the split of Bunker Hill to begin with. The #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, K-Dog. He has prepared a contingency plan for the Scrapyard Saint as Popcorn Papi looks to get his hands on yet another Judas here tonight. As I understand, before we get down to ringside for our main event, we have cameras following Slardy back through the curtain as Sigma Shuko is standing by here looking to give some words of encouragement to his tag team partner. Let's see what that's all about.
Slardy, you put up one hell of a fight out there. Motive and drive like that is why we're the tag team champions. Two-time KPW Tag Team Champions. We've been training in our motherland all month for whatever team may step up to us. Boise boys. High velocity. The Bam bus. Who wants it most at Hysteria? Who do you think it'll be, Slardy? 'Cause I'm gonna be right there with you.
Who's it gonna be, Shuko? Who is it going to be? It doesn't even matter who it will be. You and I both know that Hysteria is gonna come and go. We'll still have these tag titles. Boise boys. High velocity. The Bam bus. I'm not here to ramble, but all you bitches better be ready to gamble. We're not picking just one of you to put down. We're gonna take down all three of you in tag turmoil.
What?
No matter the odds, no matter the trial or tribulations. In life and in practice, Shuko and I are tag team gods. And this Saturday, the gods are coming to cut you all down.
Throwing down one hell of a gauntlet. Slardy is a madman. He is absolutely insane. Willing to put up his tag team championships on the line, putting him up at serious risk there. Tag team turmoil. 4 teams enter. 1 team will leave as the champions. Slardy looking to have everything to prove here. But Solo, he's gonna have to prove his worth to K-Dog here tonight as he goes up against Popcorn Papi. Oh man! We've been waiting all week to see this. And what the hell is this? Is this some kind of joke? Some kind of mockery? Who the hell is the Colonel Kid? Was this the contingency plan put into motion by K-Dog? They're making a mockery out of the World Heavyweight Champion. Popcorn Papi still hasn't even got his World Heavyweight Championship back in his firm possession. K-Dog has been parading around with it for weeks like he's been the champion. And that's how it all started here, ladies and gentlemen. Greed, lust, superficial needs, choosing glory over friendship. And now Solo, he's looking to send a personal message to Popcorn Papi through this would-be imitation, this imposter, the Colonel Kid. Give me a freaking break. Look at this. He is just soaking it all in here in the ring. The Scrapyard Saint is just soaking in this moment, this opportunity to mock the World Heavyweight Champion. A man that stood side by side with this man as his career was put up at risk by Parliament for the better part of a year.
4, 5,
The ungrateful,
7,
selfish.
9, 10, 11.
And Solo, he's just sitting there making a mockery out of the world champion time and time again.
16, 17.
Now Solo's, it appears he got a paddle here in the ring. And the Colonel Kid has picked it up. No, I say that I gotta call things right down the middle. I fly solo as always. I'm not going to fly with Solo, that's for damn sure. But to say that this is going to be a fierce competitive matchup here in our main event, that would be completely disingenuous here, ladies and gentlemen. This is just here to get underneath the skin of the World Heavyweight Champion. This is all just to send a message to the Street Fighter himself, Popcorn Papi, a man that has to fly solo out of necessity, a man that has nobody else to fall back on, a man that finally chased his dreams, made them all ring true back in Spring Stampede, and it appears it cost him damn near everything just to get it done. Scrapyard Saint Solo, this jealous son of a bitch, and I apologize. For this demeanor, for my own comments here, but this is just sprinkling salt onto an open wound for the World Heavyweight Champion. Side Russian leg sweep, pushed away by Solo. Springboard moonsault, but nobody home. Wrist lock. Solo breaks his way free. Pulling Colonel Kid to the center of the ring. Who clearly doesn't want to just put this away. Solo getting caught up on the top here. drop kick from the Colonel Kid. I gotta know, where the hell did Solo and K-Dog dig this man out of? What hole did they find him in? What bridge did they find this man living underneath? Because that is not a world heavyweight champion, folks. The fact that they wanted to use this man to represent the world heavyweight champion, it's an absolute mockery. It's a damn mockery. And it's damn shameful. That's what it is, above all else. Another drop kick from Solo. Side of this, it almost makes me sick to my stomach. I might need a Pepto for this. Corkscrew bomb from the top. Cover. Just put this away, for God's sakes. And whoever God is up there and out there is certainly a merciful one, because this mockery, this message firmly sent courtesy of the Scrapyard Saint on behalf of the Pitbull, the man that he joined sides with to betray the world champion. And speaking of the world champion, I almost don't want to even get my hopes up here. There he is! There's Popcorn Papi! Biding his time in the back, letting Solo make a damn fool out of himself. And now he's gonna make a fool out of him once again here. And Popcorn Papi, he's wailing away at the face of Solo. He wants everybody to know, who's your daddy, Mr. Scrapyard Saint? Snap, crackle, and pop from Popcorn Papi. He's cleared the ring of one traitor. The other one is looking to follow suit. The Pitbull, the man that kickstarted this whole thing. The man that blew up this whole powder keg. The #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. And Popcorn Papi, he's not even waiting. He's rushing, chomping at the bit to get his hands on K-Dog, and he deserves every damn bit of it. Solo is still laid out on the floor. K-Dog has nobody to fall back on. And he's giving him one hell of a fight here tonight. He is unleashing his fury onto a man that he once considered as one of his closest friends, brothers. These two were considered brothers at one point. As Popcorn Papi just clocked K-Dog with the ring bell. And the timekeeper was more than courteous to give Popcorn Papi a good swing of that bell. And the Kumite faithful, they're just rushing to give Popcorn Papi whatever he desires. Popcorn Papi get his hands on the World Heavyweight Championship. The title that has been etched with his name on it for the past month, and he's finally getting proper possession of it. And Popcorn Papi, his tempers have flared up, and who could blame him? Who the hell could blame him? He thought he could trust these men. He thought he had brethren, a family that he chose to try and make KPW a better place, to try and quell the would-be dictators like Oliver English over the course of the past year, toppling down the monsters like Pando. Popcorn Papi, he's got that championship belt. He's looking to clock K-Dog with it. And he is rushing out of the ring with the thing that belonged to him this whole damn time. Popcorn Papi taking back what was his. And at Hysteria, he's looking to take a little bit more from K-Dog. In our main event in just 5 nights, our next monthly special event, Saturday, April 25th, 9/8 Central on the Team Adhesive Broadcasting Network, as the Colonel Kid has fastened the belt around the waist of the champion. What a statement to close out Warzone here tonight. I have been Tapey Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. Wishing you all a good night, everybody.